to do a battle over 30 minutes.
And just to throw out, I think it's worth saying one more shout out to Ziad Gandor in the number 24 Boardwalk Ferrari entry. That is a Trofeo Pirelli AM car. He starts 4th overall. That was a qualifying lap that he laid down. Barry Zeckelman in the Ferrari of Ontario entry is in the 6th overall spot, 2nd. When you get 2 AM guys that far up the order, that's an impressive run. And we've seen what Ziad can do. We know Zeckelman's got some speed. This should be good.
Yeah, it's very, very... I mean, actually, the margin between the Trofeo Pirelli Pro drivers and some of the AM drivers is minuscule, isn't it? And I think you and I were both really, really impressed with Gandor's qualifying earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid lap. Remember in the race yesterday, if you joined us, he ended up with that post-race penalty that dropped him down the order just a little bit. And I'm very impressed as a result. What he did is all he did was take any frustration he may have had with that, channel it, and lay down a brilliant qualifying lap. And that's the kind of thing you need to do when you're in a pretty solid points battle. He came in here leading by 5, but again, with that issue yesterday, Zeckelman had a good run, so he did what he needed to do, and he did it way up at the sharp end of the grid. That's impressive.
And isn't it interesting how some of these racing drivers, they're able to take negativity and turn it into a positive by being a positive motivation. And that was proved from yesterday to his qualifying today, and indeed his grid position is going from P4 on the grid.
A classic example of that this weekend was the race that just unfolded before this with Issa. Had that wreck in the first lap yesterday, didn't finish, promptly went out, put the car in pole, and won going away. That is how you need to channel. If you let it get to you, if you let it fester, then you're going to be struggling a little bit. If you just say, all right, I'm just going to put my head down, we're going to solve this, we're going to go after it, and I know what I need to do. The team has certainly given me the right car to do it in. Let's execute.
Now, presumably, we have here around about 1:45 local time. The track is probably going to be at about its hottest now.
Yep, sun is at its highest in the sky, so it's just directly beating down on the track. A lot of Pirelli rubber down on the track, which is a good thing, but when it gets really hot, it'll get a little greasy, and that just happens. And again, you just need to be on top of that. You need to have your coach working with you saying, look, you're going to get to these different spots in this track. Grip's going to be different than it was this morning. You raced it yesterday. You've got an understanding of it. Remember that and use it.
Cooper McNeil and Benjamin Hites here are both champing at the bit behind the safety car, aren't they? What they're doing actually is they're accelerating, then braking, because what's critical is to try and generate some temperature into those brakes, which dissipates the heat out into the tyres. Even as hot as it is, the tyres, until you're racing, are not up to operating temperature, are they?
No, not even close. The temperatures that these tires operate at, much warmer than the weather today. The brakes even more so to be truly effective. And so you're absolutely right. They are just working things over here to try and get ready to go racing here. And you can see Cooper has that just nosed ahead just a little bit. And I think for Hites, he needs to really clock this start just right. We are green. Watch for Hites. Is he going to be able to do something around the outside? Cooper had to shift just a little bit there. Felt he was going to close the door. Side by side, a big wiggle.
Oh, Hites gets it all wrong. Ziad Gandor, he's the one that has to go wide, and he'll be on the loose stuff as well, so he loses out on a load of places as well. So basically, Cooper McNeil has managed to elevate Thomas Tibble into that P2 position because Benjamin Hites has gone backwards, so too has Ziad Gandor.
Yeah, and give a huge amount of credit to Joe Rubo, who was the car that I think Gandor came right in front of, and Rubo recognized it, opened the wheel up, let him come in without causing any kind of an incident, and that was an absolutely heads-up drive by Rubo.
So Cooper McNeil leading from Thomas Tibble then in P2, and there you can see Benjamin Hites trying to make the best of a bad job, and a really botched start there, and Benjamin Hites trying to claw his way back on this opening lap now. And we're only a part way through this opening lap. But Cooper McNeil doing everything that he needed to do by making ssure that he converted that P1 position in qualifying into P1 in the race.
And an absolutely stellar recovery from the 24 of Gandor after being forced wide like that. Came back on right in front of Rubo and then laid a pass immediately and picked up another spot as he came back on. That was a great recovery and just shows you the intensity that he is racing with today. Good look there at the number 13 of Mark Muzzo.
So the cars scream through this Sebring circuit on the opening lap of this 30-minute Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. That mix of pro and AM drivers battling all the way through the grid. The race being led by Cooper McNeil there. You could just see Benjamin Hites ahead of the Gandor car.
Yeah, and the guy that he came back on, and you would have thought, okay, his tires have got to be a little bit dirty. It's going to take him a minute to clean them off. He wasted no time, went right back around the number 6 of Joel Weinberger, the Continental Autosports entry, and picked that spot up. And there is a look, the number 99 of Zeckelman, Ferrari of Ontario. 5th yesterday, looking for a little bit more today. And in the battle right off the drop with Benjamin Hites right behind him. Yeah, Hites, that wiggle was hugely costly. Unfortunate, nobody collected him.
Cooper McNeil has put himself 2 seconds ahead of Thomas Tipple. He's really stretching his legs, isn't he? McNeil leads from Tipple, then it's Kamani, and then it's Martin Burrows ahead of Zeckelman, and then Benjamin Hites.
I thought it was interesting on that start. You saw Cooper actually move to his left just a little bit. He said, "I don't want, if Hites tries to squeeze or whatever, I want no part of that."
Sure.
Gave himself plenty of room, and then Hites just got a little bit too wide, got into some of the slipperier parts of the outside lane of that track, and did a nice job to save it. Everybody avoided him, but boy, Gandor had to go way around the outside. Came back in, some real heads-up driving throughout this pack. No contact when it could have been absolutely horrendous.
Yes, it could have been horrific, couldn't it? So McNeil then, and here we can see an overtake on, just diving to the inside of the John Maygrue car. There was the 36 car of Neil Gahani. Gahani wasn't able to make that stick, but Maygrue kept with his line as well. So those continue to fight, and just reinforcing the comfort that Cooper McNeil feels with this car. He's still continuing to increase his lead at the front, but we're focusing on this battle at the moment. It's going on for P12, 13 and 14. Back down there, you can just see the number 72 car, Tom Marici there, one of the gentleman racers. But if I may say, John Maygrue appears to be a little bit of a cork in a bottle here, because the number 36 car of Neil Gahani is desperately trying to find a way past.
Well, of course, Gahani was yesterday's winner, now sits in the 5th spot. Maygrue found a lot of pace relative to how he qualified yesterday this morning, so he's looking a lot racier. But you're right, everybody up front starting to check out just a little bit, and I think it may be Magrue's car is just taking a little bit longer to come in. They may have run a little different tire pressure on the off here, and Gahani tried to see that silver car, tried to square up the exit of the Le Mans curve, turn 16, to get a little bit better run, but he clipped a little bit of the curbing that's down there, and it gave the car a little bit of a wiggle, and that's all part and parcel of it, is figuring out when I can go to throttle and what I can do to not spin up those rears a little bit. Even with traction control, when you're bouncing over a curb, it doesn't help you much.
Those 5 cars really out on their own, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Benjamin Hites now is under some pressure, it has to be said, from the number 24 car of Zia Gandor. Gandor was really pushing him, you know. Benjamin Hites, who was so sublime yesterday, finds himself under pressure. But of course, himself, Gandor, is under some pressure from Joe Weinberger and Joe Rubo as well.
Yeah, Weinberger was the guy that Gandor had, when he recovered, came back and laid a very quick pass on. But now Weinberger looks like he's got the measure just a little bit. And Gandor, of course, his heart rate had to be going through the roof as he's bouncing through the dirt on the exit of 1, and did a nice job of focusing that. But now Hites starting to pick the pace up a little bit, opened a slight gap to Gandor, and now all over the back of Zeckelman.
So Barry Zeckelman then going to have to defend hard here from Benjamin Hites. Barry Zeckelman is he's certainly shown incredible pace as well. So too our race leader, just keeping an eye on the timing screen. 4.015. Martin Burrows in the pit lane. Shay, find out more.
A bit of chaos going on down here, guys, because obviously in a 30-minute race, you don't expect the car to come into the pits for any sort of emergency service. That's exactly what Martin Burrows needs. He needs a new left front tire. They didn't even have an air gun ready to go to try and replace the Pirelli that he started on, and they had to take one of the tires that he used off earlier. Now they're looking back in the well, trying to see what's wrong with everything. This car is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Looks like a second DNF for Martin Burrows.
What a shame, and apologies, Shay. It was finds out more as opposed to find out more, which sounded something like an order, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Burrows led a large part of the race yesterday, had himself a great drive, ended up with that problem late in the race, but yeah, unfortunate to see him coming. Now, let's go back. Now, watch as they come up here. Watch Cooper right about here. Whoop, I want no part of that. And Hites a little bit wide. Big wiggle right there.
I wonder whether there was a little bit of contact from Tipple on the back of Heates.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Gondor had to take major evasive. Right there, Rubo. See Rubo move way over?
Yeah.
He saw Gondor coming and said, I got to give him some room or we're going to have a wreck. And that was really, really solid track awareness, once again, by Joe Rubo.
Well, can't be sure about that, but just looking at that replay once
possible.
again, I wonder. There indeed is Thomas Tipple then, who's running in P2. Some 6.3 seconds down on the race leader now. Cooper McNeil has checked out and is ordering a milkshake already.
Yeah, Cooper, he had an absolute mission today. Was after what happened yesterday, he said, we got to put this right. And he's doing just that. And quietly, the yellow car that sits third, great run by Amir Kirmani in the number 17, the collection entry, having a strong run as well. Here's Heates again attacking on Zeckelman. This would be for 4th overall as Zeckelman leads now in the Pro-Am category.
Really impressed with Zeckelman here. He's not bowing to the pressure of Benjamin Heates behind him, is he? Zeckelman, of course, has got the benefit of having Heates between himself and Ziad Gandor, who's running second in the AM class, who's got a nice little cushion there, hasn't he?
Yes, he does. And best laps right now for Zeckelman and Heates, the difference, 1/1000th of a second in terms of their best laps. That is running a pace. Now, Heates right there, this is a section of track he really has figured out. I thought he might try and surprise Zeckelman down into Tower turn 13 here. Didn't that lap, but I think if he doesn't get through at another point, we may see him try and make that big surprise move there. Good look there, 13. Once again, Mark Muzo. And finds himself right now, Muzo does, sitting in the 7th spot in the Trofeo Pirelli category.
So there you're looking at the Joe Rubo car then. Joe Rubo, as you said, had to make Hastie's exit as Heates came back out onto the track. So what have we got? About a third of the race done. We've got 21.5 minutes of the race still to come, leading by Cooper McNeil as we follow these cars. This is Benjamin Heates then.
And you know, I remember he was all over the back of Zeckelman going into turn 13, and now Zeckelman has a sizable margin. So you wonder if maybe there wasn't a little bit of a slip somewhere for Heates, because now Gondor is right on his wing.
Yeah, he is. He's right on him here. So Benjamin Heates now, rather than trying to attack Barry Zeckelman ahead, is having to think about defending from Ziad Gandor, who is right behind him. So Benjamin Heates at the moment is, well, he's having to focus more perhaps on his rearview mirror than on the windshield going forward. But of course, Ziad Gandor himself has got Joel Weinberger and Joe Rubo and Mark Muzo behind him. So whichever way you look, you know, these drivers have all got to cope with that pressure.
They do. And then behind Muzo, there's a small margin, and then Brent Holden, and then a little bit more of a gap back to the gentleman who was running 4th in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class, yesterday's winner, Gahani. Ooh, wide there for Gondor, and thought Weinberger might have a chance.
Well, also thinking that he might have a chance.
Here comes Rubo. You are right, sir. Now he's on the wrong side for the left-hander that's coming up, but Rubo sure let him know he was there.
Yes. Whilst all this is going on, and I'm sorry to keep harping on about this, but now McNeil is like 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds damn near, leading this race. So this continues to fight out then the Ziad Gandor car.
McNeil just turned a lap sub 207,
Whoa.
206.9. That just gives you an idea of the pace. Everybody else, only Tipple has run a 208 in this lead group. Everybody else in the 9s, such is the pace that Cooper McNeil has unleashed here.
Well, the team obviously did the right thing in terms of putting him in that car, didn't they?
They did. They sent something and were able to deal with it. Now, Heates has finally got back onto the rear deck of Zeckelman, and he's got a tow. Those two cars, sort of middle screen here. Here we go, that silver car with the red car with the green highlights just going out of frame. Didn't try the move heading in. Then Gondor, Weinberger, and that white, or that black and red Ferrari. And there is the white WeatherTech entry, serenely on his way for Cooper McNeil.
Across the bumps, he's able to be super smooth, isn't he? Because he's got no one ahead of him and no one troubling him behind either. This is Cooper McNeil then, giving us really a masterclass of the way round this Sebring circuit. Of course, he has lots of experience of racing here as well, so he knows where to pitch that car and pitch the car absolutely perfectly. And his lead now up to 10.5 seconds in the first 12 minutes of the race.
Absolutely, it's impressive, but the problem is you get a huge lead like that, and if you start to back off, that's when you can start to make little mental errors. He's really got to stay focused focused. I'm quite sure that Alessandro Balzan, his coach in the headset, is really keeping him focused at this stage. Meanwhile, dropping back to this battle, that's the white Ferrari of John McGrew, as he just floated a little wide for a moment there, running right in front. And McGrew in the Ferrari of Long Island entry in front of Dave Musial in the Ferrari Lake Forest car, that multicolored car. If you get up close to it, it's like a snakeskin graphic with lots going on. And then behind them is Chris Carroll in the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari of Silicon Valley entry. And this is the battle right now for 6th in the AM class, 13th overall.
So Musial continuing to push John McGrew here. McGrew not pandering to the pressure, though, at the moment. And Dave is going to have to find a way round. This is P2 and P3 that we can see as Thomas Tipple goes through our shot now. And P3 is Kamani then for the collection. And Kamani some 12 seconds down on our race leader before we get to the Zeckelman-Heates battle, which continues to rage. But Thomas Tipple is about on his own as well, because he's got a couple of seconds over Kamani, so he's not being pressured at all, and he certainly isn't pressuring Cooper McNeil either.
Well, for Tipple, with the exception that it's for second as opposed to the lead, this is kind of comfortable for him with nobody in front of him, because he had a streak of 10 straight wins on his way to the Copa Shell Championship last year. He had a lot of clear track in front of him on frequent occasions.
I was talking to him at an airport recently, and Thomas,
Heates has gone through.
Yes, he has. Thomas, of course, elevated from Copa Shell straight into Trofeo Pirelli Pro, and it's proven to be the right one. Benjamin Heates on his fight back now. Here's Shay.
It's all about trying to stay calm, fast, and clean for Benjamin Heates. That's what they were telling him over the radio yesterday en route to his win. Well, today, it took a little while for him to remember the calm part after the start not going the way that he had hoped. So after yesterday went so perfectly, took Benjamin a couple of laps to settle back in and then finally be able to reel off the guys in front of him. He did get around Barry Zeckelman, but the crew are being very careful not to talk to him over the radio unless they have to. They're trying to make sure that he stays in the zone now that he's back in it.
Well, I was just going to say, prior to, now he's made the pass, his best lap thus far, a 2:08.748, while he was behind Zeckelman. Be interesting to see now that he's got a little bit of clear track, what kind of laps he's able to throw down in pursuit now of a podium overall and Armani.
Well, it just looks now that he has got past Zeckelman, and he took too long to do that, truthfully, didn't he? But now he has got past. He's put 5 or 6 car lengths on Zeckelman, hasn't he? So he's got the pace. And, now he's, of course, chasing after those cars of Kamani and Tipple.
This is the part of the track that he is so quick in. He does open a spin by Weinberger. Looks like the left front corner. I wonder if there's a little contact of some sort. Let's take a look, see if we can see what happens. There's Heates. Oh, yeah. I don't know whether he got tipped, but he certainly went around.
Rubo then being called out because Mark Musso was able to go through, wasn't he?
He was.
That's twice Rubo's had to take evasive action, isn't it?
And this time it a dead stop, and that's the problem, because then to get going again, you can have a stream of cars go through here. So there's Tipple, first car just going out of your picture. That's second, then the yellow Ferrari of Armani, and then here is Heates. There is Zeckelman.
Heates is quicker than Tipple. So the catch-up is on, isn't it? And we're a half race distance with 15 minutes of the race remaining. There is the number 99 car of Barry Zeckelman, who's leading in the AM class for Ferrari of Ontario. Ziad Gandor P2 in the AMs, and P3 in the AMs, Brent Holden.
And this is interesting. Zeckelman, first car in your frame here, and that beautiful blue and silver liveried car leading AM. There's Gondor, pole sitter in AM, now second. Nobody between them. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of speed now Gondor can generate. Can he close down on Zeckelman?
Well, so there the number 24 car of Ziad Gandor. Chasing after Barry Zeckelman now.
And Heates, yep, just what we thought. He just now turned a 2:07.4, and he was in the high 2:08s when he was battling with Zeckelman. So, and that lap now has about a second and a half faster than Kermani for Heates. And look at Gondor, big chunks he's taking out of Zeckelman right now on this lap.
And of course, taking those chunks out critical, and it gets you up to the car, but it doesn't get you past necessarily, does it? And the same applies to being chased by Gandor here, and Zeckelman knows that. He's got to find a way around him. Benjamin Hites made took a long while to get past him, and Hites, of course, in his own way, chasing down Kamani, he's going to have to find a way past him.
Well, for Zeckelman, what he needs to do, and remember, the rule in terms of defending versus blocking is you cannot make a move as Musial has a moment, goes around.
Yep, so Dave Musial will get the car back out onto the tarmac once again. And this is how it happened then. Trying to go around the outside of John McGrew, just puts a wheel onto the dirt, and that's enough to kick the back out, isn't it?
Yep, there's behind those curbs, that sand, and it divots a little bit back there, and it just caught him, bounced the car up, and snapped him around. So now McGrew no longer has Musial behind him, but that is going to allow Chris Carroll in the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari Silicon Valley entry, that red, white, and blue entry right behind here, gives him a little bit of a free run at this stage to be able to come up. And again, in qualifying, we saw Carell. It looked like he was on a flyer, caught some traffic, and it was late in the session, and he just didn't have the time to try anything again. Oh, McGrew slow out of the Le Mans corner, and this gives Carroll a chance. Not sure what happened. We were looking at Carroll, and McGrew had something. I don't know whether he just had the car step out. He's going to try and defend. Carroll, is he going to force the issue? No. Interesting. Being very gentlemanly here.
Yes, indeed.
Now he comes down the inside. But that puts you on a much bumpier line. Boy, they are side by each onto this front straight.
So going into turn one now, Carell's going to be on the wrong line, isn't he? Because it's going to be the outside. There's a healthy respect between the two of them here because they've left each other racing room, haven't they? And if Carell is able to hold on to this, just done it, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. And again, the gentlemanliness he showed was returned by McGrew. And that's something that you don't think about sometimes. But when you show respect for the driver that you're racing and something happens and you open the door up, they remember that. And if there's another scenario where you need the favor, they'll give it to you.
Yeah, and that's nice to see, isn't it?
It is nice to see.
So
look at this. Hites through already on Kermani.
He's done it. And now the chase is on to Thomas Tipple, and there's time to do this. There's 11.5 minutes of the race left to run.
Yep.
So
watch it here. Boy, he got it done early, didn't he? Heading into the hairpin. Got to the inside, and at that point, there's really nothing Kermani can do. You hope then that Hites just overshoots a little bit, and you can turn back underneath. Hites not having that issue at all, had that car perfectly placed on exit. Now he's going after Tipple. Tipple's best lap so far, a 2-minute 8.6. Again, Hites a 2.74. So there's Cooper MacNeil, margin up to almost 15 seconds.
Yes, Cooper MacNeil is just not having a problem at all, is he?
No.
His best lap at 2:06.998. So Cooper MacNeil looking very comfortable in that car. And he's untroubled. He's got 10.5 minutes to hold on to this. But I say hold on, it's hardly hold on because he's just looking at everything he's doing is perfectly. He's nailing every turn, isn't he? And just going about his business and consistently quick, which means that that margin continues to increase. The one that's going to come under pressure now, of course, is the P2 driver, Thomas Tipple, as Benjamin Hites is approaching at some pace.
That he is indeed. And for Cooper right now, the mission is, as they say, hit your marks.
Yeah.
Be consistent, hit your breaking point, turn in, apex, track out, and just continue to hit those marks. And he is doing that absolutely beautifully right now through that wonderful section of the track. Collier curve now up into Tower Turn that he's going to be taking the right. Feed the throttle on right here. And away you go. And it's a fabulous piece of racetrack, certainly. And there is Hites. And be interesting to see just what that margin is this time by, because there's Tipple.
I think Tipple is responding. I think Tipple
might be.
Car 28. Instant responsibility, drive-through penalty. So that's Joe Rubo, of course. So I think Tipple is responding. I think he's a bit quicker than he has been over the last few laps. He's been given the hurry up by the team because Benjamin Hites is on his way. As you can see, we've got 9 minutes left to run in this race, and certainly his rate of progression is not as great on Thomas Tipple as it was on the car of Kermani.
Well, and you wonder if Tipple, it would have been smart by the crew, because Tipple is obviously going to say, I understand I don't have the pace to go race with Cooper. So I've got a good run going here. Save a little something just in case I need it if I get pressure from behind later in the race. If there's a caution, I haven't used my tires up, and now I've got something to lean on. You know that Hites has worked very hard to get through this traffic. Just getting around Zeckelman would have taken a toll. And so Hites now, his tires may not be at their best, and if Tipple has just saved a little something, well, this is when this could really come to play out for him. And for Zeckelman, even though obviously Hites got through on him, keep in mind Zeckelman continues to lead the Trofeo Pirelli AM category, but that red Ferrari that is closing up is Gondor second, and he was the man that was on pole. And you know, Brent Holden, you have to point out, silver car just popped into the back of the frame, doing what he did yesterday. Didn't have a great qualifying run, brilliant race. Holden has worked his way, quietly gone by Marici, Gahani, and now sits third in AM.
It's interesting, isn't it? Some drivers who you can nail things in qualifying, and then there are other drivers that actually their very, very best skills are in the race. It's that racecraft, isn't it?
Yep. Sometimes drivers, they just, you know, and in a short 15-minute qualifying session, and if you don't have a clear track at the absolute right moment, sometimes you just can't figure out how to get that quick lap laid down. It leaves you more work in the race, but there are those drivers that are up to that challenge and are able to make those passes, and I think Holden is certainly one of them. There's another look here at the number 13 of Musso, who has worked his way now up into 5th in the Trofeo Pirelli category, having a very solid run.
So the top three then, Cooper McNeil, Thomas Tipple and Benjamin Hites in terms of the Trofeo Pirelli Pro drivers. In terms of the AMs, it's Barry Zeckelman, Ziad Gandor and Brent Holden. And we are looking at the car that is placed P5 in Trofeo Pirelli Pro at the moment. That the car of Mark Musso. The standings on screen for you as well. So we have 7 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Musso, remember, in 2017 was champion of the Trofeo Pirelli AM category, and has stepped up into the pro side of this category and is acquitting himself very well. And here's that little bit of a battle. Holden now in front of Gahani, the second of the silver cars for Gahani. Remember, he won here in the race yesterday in the AM class in that Continental Autosports entry. But Brent Holden has taken his Scuderia Cava Ferrari of Newport Beach around and into podium position here. But Gahani not going quietly, is he?
No, he's beginning to fight back now, isn't he, as they head down this back straight behind the paddock here and line up turn number 17 ahead of them. So this is interesting to watch then as they head into that turn. So Gahani not taking it lying down, that's for sure. And putting the chase on to Holden ahead. Under the bridge they go. And this is where they run really wide now. Well, Gahani does not. Gahani preferring to go to the outside. Of course, that will give him the outside for turn number 1, but they're going to be side by side going into that turn.
They are, and it's a matter of now he's got the better radius into the corner. Holden has to keep that car placed down to the inside, and I think Holden maybe gave him a little bit too much room, and that allowed Gahani to carry some speed. Now Holden going to be way deep on the brakes. Gahani cuts back underneath, tries to get up alongside, and Holden had just enough, didn't he? It's great racecraft there, with Gahani trying the over-under and Holden having just enough speed to be able to position his car in the place he needed it to be.
A fascinating fight going on between these two, isn't it? And this is for the, well, in terms of the AM class, of course, there's a fight that's going on for the final podium place, so there's some honor up for grabs here.
You bet there is. You want to be up on that box. Certainly the top step is favored, but any step there is interesting. And that drone shot we had showed you, didn't it, how never-ending turn 17 is. Just goes on and on and on, and it's bumpy throughout, and it's a teeth rattle.
Yes. So for the moment then, Holden seems to be able to breathe a sigh of relief, but I suspect that Neil Gahani is going to have another go. We've got 4 3/4 minutes of the race remaining. This is the Ferrari Challenge North America Trofeo Pirelli Race 2. The mix of pro and AM drivers. Now he's reeling him in once again, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And Holden, he's been in this scenario before. He's done professional racing in the Pirelli World Challenge on occasion. He's done some racing in IMSA as well. So he's got some racecraft that is developed from racing outside of Ferrari Challenges long, as well as, I should say, his time here. But he's going to need every ounce of that experience right now because Gahani just looks like he is going to be absolutely relentless to the finish.
So here comes Gahani again. Not as close this time around, I don't think, as he was last time, as he's chasing down that Brent Holden car. So through this, as you say, never-ending turn number 17, as they almost have to hang on to the bumps, don't they, as the car jumps up and down. So
well, that time Holden on the entry, he ran a little bit wide. The car just skated on him a little bit. That took him off of his normal line, and he hit that huge bump, and it really unsettled the car. He was able to hang on to it, and I thought Gahani might be able to just square up like he did the last lap on the exit, but wasn't quite able to get it done. But again, Gahani hunting, looking for any way he can to get through. And look, I think Gondor may have gone through on Zeckelman and picked up the lead in the AM category. He did.
Yes. Absolutely right. And now he's escaped up the road, hasn't he?
He has. He has. There's Muzzo, 5th in the pro category. Yep, and here we go. So Gondor, great recovery drive. Just kept his head down, done what he needed to do, and set fast lap in the AM class in his chase of Zeckelman at a 2-minute 8.553. That's a very quick lap. And when you consider that Tipple in the pro category at 2:08.1, so to be within 4/10 of that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Cooper, we have to just kind of talk about a little differently. He has got it dialed today.
No question about that. So here
what's
then,
the margin? You know, the margin between Itez and Tipple now, though, is down to about a second.
Right.
And we've got this lap and another one yet to go, so I don't think this one is settled by any margin.
I think you're probably right. Looking at Ziad Gandor, the Boardwalk Ferrari driver then, who has managed to put himself ahead of Barry Zeckelman. So it's P1 and P2 in the AMS. P3 in the AMS. He's with Brent Holden at the moment, but of course he's having to hold off Neil Gahani, who's looking very lively as well. And right in the middle there on his own is the yellow and blue car of Mark Musso, isn't he? He's kind of on his own, out of class. He's a Trofeo Pirelli Pro driver.
So a couple of stout battles going on here. There comes Muzzo, then Holden and Gahani. But here's the battle for second in terms of the overall and the pro category. Itez on Tipple. And I really think what we were talking about earlier is, again, Gahani, we go back to this one, looked inside, now flowing outside, trying to figure out any way he can to get by Holden. And not happening yet. But I think Tipple he saved a little bit of tire.
Yeah.
And it may just be what he needed to fend off Itez here in the ladder going. Now Gahani squares up underneath at the exit of 1, but hit that bump way to the inside of the track. You can see, and Holden overshoots big time here. But again, Gahani's just not quite close enough to be able to take advantage of that.
Extraordinary, isn't it? These two really have it at it, tooth and nail, for lap after lap after lap. I mean, the physical demands inside those cars with the temperature as well. Yep. Fair play to both of them, because they've provided some really intense battles for us to enjoy. And you can't help but feel that Gahani must be feeling utterly frustrated. He's tried everything. He's tried to pitch that car. He's tried to unsettle Holden. None of it has worked yet.
No, and Holden just a little wide. The car stepped out a little bit coming through turn 5, and you would have thought Gahani had a shot at it. And Brent Holden, that experience we were talking about, came through Big Bend and kept that car about mid-track. And that just absolutely blunted Gahani being able to do much with it. But he's not going to give up here, as we have 30 seconds left in this race. And it comes down to Cooper McNeil. Where is he on this track? And Itez, boy, he got a nice run there. He opened it up just a little bit through turn 16. See if he's got enough here. And I think Tipple, the tires are just a little bit better for Tipple, and that may just be the tipping point.
So there you have Benjamin Itez tracking Thomas Tipple, trying to find a way past. The clock ticking down then. Here is Thomas Tipple then, and Benjamin Itez through that long winding turn 17 as they're about to start the last lap in this race. Cooper McNeil is up the road by a huge, huge margin, but Thomas Tipple, you know, is going to have to defend for everything he's worth in this last lap, as Benjamin Itez, whilst he may have pressured and pushed his tyres much, much more, and Thomas Tipple has got a little bit in reserve. Benjamin Itez, if he was on the rims now, he's going to try and find a way past Thomas Tipple, isn't he?
Yeah, you bet. Itez, he is fast. There's no question. And Tipple, you know, this is what we were talking about with Cooper. Tipple, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And just keep your pace up, hit those marks, and don't let him get close enough to get a sniff of any opportunity here. And so here we go. Tipple now, right down the middle of the track. Now he can drift over, get set up, brakes nicely. Oh boy, Itez really quick into the hairpin, wasn't he?
Yes, he is doing everything he can, but Timmerler's got enough.
Turn 13, the tower turn.
Okay.
Let's see. He's so quick from here, Collier, up to that turn. Let's see if he's got, and the question is, does he have the tire to really push it here? And I'm not sure he does. Yeah, just not close enough. Although right there, Tipple got that curb on the inside of 13. You get that hard enough, it unsettles the car, and you can't go to the throttle.
Right.
And I thought Hites might be able to do something there, but I really think Hites is struggling with just general grip now on those. Whoa, but there's a wiggle by Tipple.
Oh, that's just when he needs not to make a mistake, isn't it?
And now look at this. It's going to be a very slow run out of Le Mans onto the back straight, but Hites ran up and now runs off track, and that is going to absolutely stall his momentum. He ran so close up to the back of Tipple, he had nothing he could do but lift. Cooper, I don't think he's lifted since the green flag.
I don't think he is. Has rather, as he takes the checkered flag. An absolutely faultless drive. And Thomas Tipple, as they round those bumps and turns around turn 17, Thomas Tipple is going to finish ahead of Benjamin Hites. So it's Cooper McNeil who wins from Thomas Tipple. Then Benjamin Hites, a very good recovery from him to put it back into P3. Then it's going to be, or is it going to be Kamani that will take P4 in the number 17 car, but taking the win in the AMS, it's going to be Ziad Gandor, who has, Barry Zeckelman has dropped back. Look, he's got Mark Musso ahead of him now. It doesn't matter in terms of the class battle, because Barry Zeckelman will still take P2.
And that was smart for Zeckelman not to fight that too much and let him through. Had no bearing on his points. However, this was the battle that we were watching, and Holden able to hold off the relentless pressure of Neil Gahani for that final place on the AM podium.
Amazing stuff. What a race.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Cooper had, he put on the clinic, but behind him, it was absolutely fraught and entertaining.
That was a masterclass, wasn't it, from McNeil?
It truly was. It truly was. He was well motivated. You could tell that, and they gave him that car. And clearly it was one, you slip into it, and I was thinking Jim Carrey's line, when you get a car that's like a glove, and you just get into it, and it feels very comfortable, and that just ramps your confidence up. And he put on just a great display.
Well, he adds yet another win into the book. It's 2 in the season so far. 2 wins, 2 P2s for Cooper McNeil then. And well done to Ziad Gandor for taking the win in the AMS. Of course, separate successes for both the AMS and the pros. And here's the replay, and this is where it all started.
Exactly, and again, right there, you see that little move. That was McNeil saying, I don't want any part of this. And, oh, there was a touch. You're right. And the touch came from Tipple. You are absolutely spot on. And that loosened up Hites. And fortunately, Joe Rubo paying really close attention when Gandor had to come swinging back on after he went evasive. Then the field able to get through. But then this moment here, McGrew being chased by Musial as they head up toward 3, 4, and 5. And again, Musial here trying the outside, got in, hits this bump, boom, right there, lost it completely, snaps the car around. Fortunately, everybody able to miss. And then the attack from Hites down to the inside here of Amir Kamani. That gave him 3rd spot. Kamani, just nothing he could do about it. Hites had a tremendous run. And then the battle here, Gahani and Holden. Gahani in the 2nd car looks to the inside on Brent, gets up along the outside. They just were like this all the way through turn 1. Holden trying to keep it down to the inside. And then watch this here. Looks like Gahani's got it done. Holden comes from way back, overruns the corner, but as Gahani tries to square up underneath, he wasn't quite enough alongside. Holden able to shut the door, and that battle would continue for a while. But for Cooper McNeil, a margin of victory, just a tick under 15 seconds as he put on the clinic. A couple of fabulous battles back in the track. There was Thomas Tipple with a solid run into the 2nd spot. But for Cooper McNeil, back on track for the WeatherTech Ferrari driver.
So Cooper McNeil then. So very interesting. We've now you've seen that, because I wondered whether there was contact right at the start of the race, and you're saying you're confirming that.
Yeah, it definitely was. And this is going to be interesting here because we talked about it yesterday with Hites with the win, the fast lap, and the pole. He jumped to a 3-point lead. Now Cooper gets the win, and it's even more of a swing, first to third. I think it's 8 points, first to third, plus pole, plus fast lap. So Cooper could be back in the lead by 5 points as this one goes. And the man is learning how to lay down some pastry, isn't he?
Yeah, we like donuts. That's good.
Do.
That's good. Long may that continue. What many people lose sight of is sometimes in motorsport when we get into this, we'll do it this way and we'll do it this way, and a marshal will not let you do that. And to heck with that, we're in the showbiz.
Exactly. Celebrate. When you have achieve something like this, 1 winning at Sebring, 2 winning in dominant fashion, the celebration, I mean, this is what you truly live for.
Thomas Tipple then just collapsed on the roof of his car. To the right-hand side of Cooper McNeil there, you can just see Alessandro Balzan. Once again, needs a shave, but he's got his sunglasses on there. He's the driver coach to Cooper McNeil. The difference in height between the two of them is really pronounced, isn't it?
Yeah, they used to, they used to be teammates running in IMSA competition, and those driver changes were always entertaining.
Yes, the seat's going to be a little different, hasn't it, for Cooper as to Alessandro?
Well, sometimes, you have a seat insert. I think Balzan had like a sofa.
Yes. So Cooper McNeil down there celebrating a truly dominant performance here at Sebring. No question about that.
And again, the recognition by the team that Cooper was not comfortable or happy in the car that he had yesterday. Got the T car out, put a setup on it, and nailed it. And Cooper, that first flyer in qualifying, the message was delivered there with the pace that he had in that. And it was like, okay, is he going to translate that into the race? Without doubt.
Yeah. No question was that. So you can see the cars all assembled down there ahead of podium ceremonies to come for both the classes in terms of Ferrari Challenge. And there is Thomas taking on some well-needed coolant. And Cooper McNeil then. Baseball cap about to be donned. And congratulations being offered all around.
And he did put on a great fight back, ended up second fast lap in the race, and only half a second off of Cooper's best. So once Hites got freed up a little bit, he showed speed. Thing is, he just used too much tire, probably too much brake in the car at that stage. And Tipple had managed things beautifully, knew he wasn't going to run with Cooper. So made sure he had a little something left in the quiver for the battle at the end, and I think that made the difference.
I mean, at the end, I think there was 6 tenths between Tipple and Benjamin Hites. So,
exactly.
That's how close it was.
Yeah, very, very solid. And then Gondor, after that moment early in the race when he was bounding through the dirt, the outside of turn 1 to come back from that pole position and win it. Zeckelman, a great battle, right in the hunt with a lot of the pro category cars, hangs on for second, and then the Holden Gahani battle for that final podium spot was epic as well.
Yes, a lot's going on during the course of that race. Very enjoyable it was. So, Trofeo Pirelli. And, of course, from now, we go off to the next race, which is going to be at the Laguna Seca circuit, 10th to the 12th of May. And that, of course, something very special because it's going to become, because it will be one of the Ferrari Racing Days events as well. So it's going to be something very special. Laguna Seca, what can I look forward to there?
The Monterey Peninsula, just in general, it is absolutely stunning. Food. Seafood out there is absolutely spectacular, and the track itself is one of the great challenges in North America. The corkscrew, my friend, the corkscrew, good stuff.
Cooper McNeil takes the win from Thomas Tipple, then Benjamin Hites, then it was Amin Kamani, Mark Musso, Joe Weinberger, Joseph Rubo, Martin Burrows, and Ross Chwest, then rounding out the top 9 in the Trofeo Pirelli Pro classification. We'll take a look at the AM classification as well. But before we do that, let's hear from Cooper McNeil, victorious.
Well, Cooper, it took you a little bit longer to get into the victory circle area. I think you got lost out there, right? You had to do a couple of U-turns?
Yeah, Sunday Victory Donuts is what it's all about. But big hats off to our Scuderia Corsa WeatherTech guys for working their butts off in 90-degree weather all weekend and turning a car that was struggling big yesterday, down 6 to 8 miles an hour everywhere, to being quick, and it's what it took to be here and be on the top step of the podium here at Sebring. And I've had 5 races at Sebring this year, and I've been on the podium all 5 times, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That's a pretty good record. We should move all the races to Sebring then. What does it mean to you, though? Scuderia, of course, not 1, but 2 cars with the top 2 steps of the podium, and your dad here as well.
Yeah, to have Thomas with me up there, I mean, 1-2 for the team is fantastic, especially considering where he came from last year, first year racing in his entire life. So to be up there dicing with me and to finish ahead of Ben Heights, who's quick, and a bunch of other guys who are quick as well, is big hats off to Thomas, and we can only go up from here. So
big party tonight, well earned. Congratulations, Cooper.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, well earned indeed, and again, a rightful tribute to the team.
Yes.
We talked about it before. The unsung heroes.
Yep.
These crews, as he said, in these temperatures, they're under that awning and just working away. And so here's the points. Oh, I got it wrong. It was 6 or 7 instead of 5. So I was off a little bit. But boy, we're just seeing that just changing every race. Who's leading in the points. This is going to be a great battle for the rest of the year, I think.
Indeed. So 78 points for Cooper McNeil, Benjamin Hites on 71, and Thomas Tipple on 47, the top 3 in the points there. And there you can see Murray Rothlander and John Boyd bringing up the back end of the Drivers' Championship table. A lot more racing still to come, though. Let's take a look at the results for the AM classification in terms of Trofeo Pirelli as well. Ziad Gandor then taking the win ahead of Barry Zeckelman and Brendan Holden. Then it was Neil Gahani, Tal Marici, Chris Carell, Dave Musial, and John Megru rounding out the top 8 in the Trofeo Pirelli AM classification.
Yeah, they put on a great battle. I mean, Zeckelman sort of had things covered for a while. Then Gandor at that great comeback drive, the battle for 3rd. And Holden ends up 3rd in the points after that battle. Gandor and Zeckelman, 20 points separating them. But from Zeckelman, only 5 back to Holden, then 3 back to Marici. Gahani right in the mix. So some great championship battling here as well.
And let's go back down to the podium area with Shay now.
Have to talk to the AM category winners yet. It's been a perfect day for you as far as it was concerned, pole to win. Was it that easy, though, behind the wheel?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we had pole, it was great. The start, 2 guys in front of us touched. I had to go wide. I let in like 5 cars, and then I had to go back, catch one after the other to make it back. It was really hard, but it was great. Very hard, extremely hard.
Well, now you've earned some nice champagne. Congratulations here, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you. Thanks. Take care.
Well, you know, you love those dominant wins, Dave. You know, it's easy, it's comfortable. But I think the more satisfying ones are the ones where you've had some issue and you pick a car off, and suddenly you're back in the lead and you get the win. That's satisfying. That's racing.
So next event then, Laguna Seca, and so looking forward to that. Another different circuit. Ferrari Challenge North America continues. Bye-bye for now.